I have a question about the companions.
Yeah, go
Obviously,
ahead, please. Sure.
so Abu Bakr, Omar, and Usman
Mm.
were companions of the Prophet,
Hmm.
dearly loved by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why are they so? Why they seem so negative? Uh, and why did Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam uh, same name their sons after them? Like,
So,
yeah,
so this is a big lie that's been
okay,
propagated that Amirul Mu'mineen, Ahl Bayt alayhi wasallam loved Abu Bakr Umar, or Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam loved Abu Bakr and Umar. So there is no evidence that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam liked Abu Bakr and Umar, and there is no credible evidence that Ahlul Bayt alayhi wasallam loved Abu Bakr and Umar. Rather, Ahlul Bayt alayhi wasallam despised Abu Bakr and Umar, and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam also detested Abu Bakr and Umar. As far as the naming goes, naming of the sons of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. So there are clips of mine on the internet that you can search and look, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Abu Bakr is not a name. Abu Bakr is a kunya. Kunya is pretty common. I think it's called patronym or something in English. So in the Arab world, it's quite common that people call another person out of respect on the name of his son. So, for instance, if your name is Raj and I want to address your father, I have the choice of addressing him by his first name, or I have the choice of being more respectful and more polite and address him by his kunya. So I call him Abu Raj, father of Raj. This is considered polite, and this is considered more civil. So, therefore, when you call a person by his kunya, this is not his name. This is just a sort of a title out of respect. So, perhaps this son of Amir al-Mu'mineen, his son's name was Bakr, and people used to call him Abu Bakr, perhaps. Or that might have been another reason we are not aware. So his name is, Abu Bakr is not a name. Likewise, Abu Bakr himself, the first caliph, that's not his name. His name is Atiq. But he has gained reputation through his kunya. Now, with respect to Umar, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam's son's name Umar, but there were a number of Sahaba whose names were Umar. You understand? Umar, there were a number of Sahaba, many Sahaba. Umar was a very common name. So their names were Umar. There's no evidence, there's no hadith, even a weak hadith, that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam named his son Umar in recognition of Umar ibn Khattab, in honor of Umar ibn Khattab. There's none. And there's no hadith that he named his son Umar. Other people might have named him, or he himself named him Umar. But for Umar ibn Khattab, there's none. So it could have been for another person. And these were common names. For instance, now, people name their sons George or Max or Tyson. It doesn't mean they're naming him George after President George Bush, right? It could be another. People name you. It's very common. You look at your neighbors. Hey, I've named my son George after my uncle George or after my father. It doesn't have anything to do with George Bush. So now, we demand the Umaris to produce a hadith or any evidence that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam named his son Umar in honor of Umar ibn Khattab. And there's also, in many manuscripts of different Shia and non-Shia books, his name has been mentioned as Amr, and they are written through the same letters, same lexicography, same method of writing, Amr and Umar. And Amr, later on in Islamic history, people added a waw when it's maksur or majroor or marfu, and that's rather new. After the first century that it was introduced. So during the lifetime of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, we don't know whether it was Amr or Umar. As far as Uthman goes, if you watch my clips or watch today's show, in the beginning, somebody called and I answered him in detail that there's a hadith that he named his son Uthman after Uthman ibn Mad'un, who was a companion of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He named his son Uthman Uthman in his honor, not in the honor of Uthman ibn Affan. So now, going back to your question, in Shia history, there were a lot of Shias in early Shia history whose names were Shimr, companions of the Imams alayhi who named them, whose names were Shimr. And it was not considered obscene. This was not considered repugnant. Because there's nothing wrong with the name, with the letters. You understand? Now, because we associate Shimr with the murder of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and we do not know anybody else named Shimr, so to us it seems obscene. To us it seems repugnant. To us it seems like shocking. But back then these names were very common names, Arabic names. There were many companions of the Imam alayhi salam whose names were Yazid. Now no Shia loves Yazid. But because these were common names back then, people did not see them as wrong to name their sons Yazid. Likewise, Muawiyah. Now everybody knows Shias detest Muawiyah. Shias abhor Muawiyah. They are not fond of Muawiyah. But Shias used, for centuries, they used to name their sons, their uncles, their brothers, Muawiyah. Their progeny as Muawiyah. Now, this was not out of love for Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. This was just because it was a common name. You paying attention? So, now if somebody says, okay, such and such Sahabi's name was Muawiyah, therefore Shias must love Muawiyah. That's irrational. That's nonsense. Yes, it would indicate love of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan if there was evidence that he named his son or his grandson or his progeny in honor of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. Yeah, of course, that'll be end of discussion. But just somebody's name is Muawiyah, not like your name is now Raj, right? If I find somebody else's name is Raj, it doesn't mean you're friends, and he's named after you. That's not necessary. If somebody's name is Hassan, it doesn't mean he's my friend or we believe in the same thing. It doesn't mean he could be named after his uncle Hassan, and I'm named after Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, and he could be a Nasibi. He could be an enemy of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So just having the same names, it's a very weak argument. It would prove their point if they produce evidence that Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam named his son Omar or Uthman or Abu Bakr in honor of these three. If just having this name, because these were very common names, utilized commonly by Arabs. Lots of people were called Abu Bakr or Omar Uthman. It doesn't indicate any affinity or amiability between Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam and Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman. Okay?